Thank you, dear friends, for joining Jewish National Fund USA's weekly briefing. I am Rick Krosnick, JNF's Chief Development Officer, filling in for Dr. Saul Lizerbram, our national president. It is day 215 of the war in Israel. Our first speaker today is Ryan Lavarnway. Ryan is a former Major League Baseball catcher, currently working as a leadership coach and keynote speaker. For those of you who were in Denver, Colorado last fall, you had the opportunity to hear Ryan speak at our global conference for Israel and to a standing ovation. Over his 15-year playing career, Ryan represented 8 different teams in the major leagues, including the 2013 World Series champion Boston Red Sox. He also proudly represented Israel internationally in both the World Baseball Classic and the Olympics. And by the way, I got props because Ryan, I think I actually have your signature on this Team Israel World Baseball Classic jersey. You're there somewhere. Anyway, so I'm thrilled to have you here today. When he was with the Olympics, he earned recognition in the Southern California Jewish Sports Hall of Fame in 2019 as well. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. At Jewish National Fund USA, we have a positive Israel approach because we don't believe in being the people of oy vey. We believe in showing up as the winning team because everyone wants to be part of the winning team. Ryan, I know your career can speak to this perspective, but I'll turn the briefing over to you for your remarks.
Thank you, Rick. Playing for Team Israel has been just a meaningful and life-changing part of my life. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have spoken at the JNF Global Conference. One of the things that we strive to do with Team Israel Baseball is to normalize being Jewish or normalize being Israeli. And I think that's one of the opportunities that sports has. It's a level playing field with clearly defined rules where people from across cultures, across nations, across the world can come and do something together. It's a way that we can understand other people, a way that we can interact and like I said, normalize it. So I know this emergency briefing may sound a little like, why are we talking about baseball? But that has been our goal for the last 7 years that I've been a member of the Team Israel baseball team. A little history before I give you the current status. In 2016, Israel was ranked 42nd in the world in baseball. And as of March of last year, we were ranked in the top 20. As of 2016, there was one baseball field in all of Israel. With the prize money that we've won from the Team Israel baseball team in international tournaments, we've built 2 more fields. And before October 7th, Israel was scheduled to host the European Championships of Baseball for the very first time because they finally have the facilities to host an international tournament of that caliber. Since October 7th, they have voluntarily relinquished that tournament because other nations needed to make decisions and travel plans far in advance, and they wanted to allow the tournament to continue without any interruption. The Israel Association of Baseball voluntarily gave up that tournament in hopes that in 2027 we will get to host that tournament, and it will also be an Olympic qualifier. So that is the hope for the future of Israel baseball. As far as the current status since October 7th, I was actually with the Israel baseball team playing in the European Championships in Prague on October 2nd, 5 days before the world changed. And then on October 7th, when the world did change, about 25% of our team was recalled back into active duty from the reserves. None of our players went into Gaza, but they were serving on patrols and security elsewhere. The Israel baseball team has 2 ties to the hostages, a former player from the national team from 20 years ago, and a former executive who helped build the field in Kibbutz Gezer. Many of the evacuees set up camp on the field in Beit Shemesh. There was no fall baseball season in Israel because many of the coaches were recalled into active duty and the fields were being occupied by tents and camping sites for evacuees. But many of our players have been hosting baseball camps and clinics for the families and for the children of the people that have been evacuated as a means of recreation, something to have fun, something to come together. So we're using baseball not only as a way to normalize cross-cultural differences, but also as an entertainment and a fun and a feeling that life is back to normal for the people that have been evacuated. Now that many of the reserve soldiers have gone back to regular life, if you can call it regular life, they are having a spring season in Israel, and the adult league actually has more teams than it's ever had because of all the clinics and all the camps that were hosted in the south of Israel, where there has never been baseball before. There are a lot more players, a lot more, especially adult players, that want to play baseball. So the adult league has more teams than it has ever had. Additionally, Israel baseball is sending 4 different age groups to international tournaments this year. They're sending under 12, under 15, under 18, and under 23 to international tournaments. And that is the first time that they have ever done that. So Israel baseball continues to grow, continues to make a positive impact on not only Israelis, but internationally. So other countries, other cultures can see Israel in a positive light in a new way. And that continues to be our goal. Beyond that, I just wanted to thank JNF for all the support of Israel baseball. They have helped fund many of our international tournaments. They have helped, they're also participating in many of the fundings for the clinics that are going on in the south of Israel. JNF continues to be a shining light, not only for all of Israel, but also specifically for the Israel Association of Baseball.
Ryan, thank you for that. I'm wondering if you could talk to something a little bit different. You know, many of the people on this call have young kids, grandkids, play baseball, don't play baseball, but obviously the tone and tenor of anti-Semitism in the United States, for example, which has gotten very ugly, especially over the last several weeks. We've seen the marches and the protests, and our kids are seeing those things on TV. They're hearing about it from their friends. In many cases, it's spilling over into schools. In the Chicago public schools, there was actually a walkout. It's happened in New York and some other places. What would you say to those kids? What kind of advice would you give to parents and to grandparents for them to speak to their youngsters about their identity and Israel? Would you have any thoughts on that?
I get that question a lot, and I get that question especially from parents. The first thing that I always try to do is recognize their fears and concerns, because if you try to say like, no, it's okay, don't worry about that, that's not authentic, and they're going to feel shut down and unheard. So first of all, like, it's very real fear that I feel. I can't understand the way the world is going. I don't understand how it feels like we're going backwards. I feel that there's 2 different types of anti-Semitism. One is pure hate, and that I don't understand, and that anything you say is not going to be heard. They're not going to listen to you. But the other form comes from ignorance, and in that case, we have the opportunity to educate people. If we know the true story, if we know the full story and the facts, we can help educate people. We can help give them the full story. And at times it feels like it shouldn't fall on us. It shouldn't have to be our responsibility. But if not us, then who?
Thank you very much, Ryan. I also want to just make a plug for our Global Speakers Bureau. Ryan is actually part of our Global Speakers Bureau. He's available to travel to communities around the country. If you want to have Ryan pay a visit, work through your local professional. But if you go to our Global Speakers Bureau online, you can see the full lineup of speakers, including Ryan. Ryan, we thank you so much for your remarks, and thank you for being such a strong advocate and such a positive role model for us and for our kids.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Okay, our next guest speaker is JNF-USA Macomb liaison Sho Schmitzman. good friend of many of ours. As you know, Macomb is a network of communities supported by Jewish National Fund USA that focuses on empowering and revitalizing towns and villages throughout Israel. Shosh, thank you for being with us again, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick, and welcome everyone. We are standing during difficult times right now, looking back at October 7th, which seems like such a long time ago. We thought that by now things would look better and get better, and unfortunately, we're still waiting for that to happen. I'm going to start out by sharing a little bit of what's happening on our side of the world, and then we'll share about some recent things that Macomb has been involved with, and end it with what we're busy doing nowadays. So Macomb, for those of you that want the very simple and basic explanation, is an organization of people. The people that are involved with Macomb are people like you and me, regular, ordinary people that have their day jobs, but they go above and beyond in communities across Israel. We have over 280 communities spread out from Kiryat Shmona to Eilat of people that are devoted to making life better for the people living around us in the different cities. Macomb has over 20,000 of these volunteers that are active and involved, and we range from ultra-Orthodox to completely secular people. We have Ethiopians and Russian speakers and Druze and even Bedouin communities. And these are people that care about society and want to make it better. And we're proud affiliates of JNF-USA because of our joint vision, building a stronger Israel together, the land and the people, and our focus is the people. So that being said, before October 7th, we were busy making life better in so many different ways throughout these cities. And once October 7th broke out, we got even busier. And on an average, we were helping something like 80,000 people on a monthly basis. And just to bring everyone up to speed, these 20,000 volunteers are active in the community in ways that if we try to imagine what that means, it means you come home from your day of work, you roll up your sleeves and you get to work. So here in front of us, we have the examples of what we've done right before Pesach. Right before Pesach, we were busy delivering food packages to over 20,000 people. Thankfully, there are other organizations as well that do similar things because the needs this year have been extremely high with people being displaced, losing their jobs, and just living in this constant uncertainty. We also heard last week Yedidia. Yedidia talked about the matzahs that were delivered, and I am honored that I had the privilege to be part of that distribution. We delivered 5,500 matzah packages. You see them here in the picture to communities from the Gaza envelope that were evacuated. We ended up in Tiberias, in Jerusalem, even Eilat, in cities all across the country that were hosting and caring for these evacuated communities. And we're very lucky that throughout 22 locations in Israel, we were able to deliver these packages. Moving forward, we organized community seders. What does it mean, a community seder? We actually started 2 years ago when the Ukrainians arrived in Israel right before Passover. We said we want to make this a festive celebration. And this year, with the current situation of people not being at home, not necessarily having where to go, or staying at one of the hotels because there really was no other alternative, we said we are the communities, we are the people in these communities, and we need to embrace everyone. So these are just a few pictures from the 55 community seders that we held across the country, with an average of 250 people at each of these community seders. We want to make sure that no one feels left behind. Everyone has a place to go, and they're all part of the community. So moving into where things are going and sort of what we're dealing with, we understand that our reality here in Israel is based on what's happening. And for the people that have been evacuated from their homes, this is uncertainty without an end date. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing some beautiful children, and on the next slide as well, some more. What we've decided during the past few months was that we really need to help the children and the teens heal. That those are the spaces that we usually work in the different cities, and we need to make sure that those that either were evacuated or are currently living in a different situation because of the circumstances, we need to provide solutions. And part of our Makom communities, we have 6 communities of artists, musicians, and art and drama therapists. And what we decided together with them is that we need to find a way to expand these 300 people, that's what they do for their job. We need to find a way for them to reach more people and help those that really need the assistance. So we reached out to professionals in the field and said, who wants to join us? Who wants to be part of this? And from 300 professionals, within a few days, there were over 1,000 professionals that said, I'm willing to give 1 day a week. I'm willing to give 5 hours a week. Whatever it is, different people said, I want to give, I want to help, I want to be part of this doing. And I want to explain to you for a moment what it means, because people say, oh, great, art therapy, music therapy, it's something fun for the kids to do. But using an example of something that I personally came across was one of the hotels that I visited during these months. I met a lot of children, a lot of parents that were frustrated running after their children. And I came to one of the hotels in Tel Aviv, and a mother was speaking to me and told me that they were evacuated from Sderot on the night of after October 7th. And she said, we were leaving town, and I told my kids to duck down because I didn't want them to see what was on the streets. But they're kids and they're curious, and they peeked out of the window and they saw lots of blood and unfortunately dead bodies. But a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old can't process those kind of images. And this mother was telling me how her 11-year-old daughter, Gali, really wasn't functioning since they got to the hotel and wasn't communicating, was kind of off in her own little world, and they just didn't know what to do. And she said to me, you know, it's really sad because I know my daughter needs therapy, but all the therapists are taken. And of course, there are people that are traumatized much more than my own daughter. But what can I do? I'm grateful that that's all my daughter is going through. And thankfully, it's not any worse than that. But that was when we started bringing these therapists into the hotels. And we found that children having the opportunity to express themselves through art, music, and drama, and other ways of expression, these kids started behaving differently. They started communicating better. And this mother was telling me how the first time her daughter participated in one of these sessions, it was a group session with 10 other kids. She came back with this picture that she drew, and she showed her mother and she smiled. And she said, that was the first time since October 7th that I saw my daughter smile. And from there, she slowly started opening up and started talking about regular daily things because she had an outlet to express herself. And that really sort of ties in together the essence of what Makom does, because Makom sees a need no matter where we are in the country. And we say, what can we do to respond to that need and resolve it? And at the moment, we're seeing that there are over 20,000 children that are doing all different types of sessions throughout the country. we're all going through this at different levels. But this is a way that we can bring an outlet for children and teens. They can express themselves, that they can feel a little bit better, that even with this whole situation going on, they have some kind of outlet. And of course, if kids are doing better, parents are less stressed, parents have enough they're dealing with right now. But this is how we've responded to these needs. And sort of wrapping things up, it's important to say that when people ask me, so what do you do at Macomb? I said, it really depends what's going on this side of the world. And what we're trying to do is really provide these different solutions across so many different cities in Israel and fine tune these areas that, unfortunately, whether it's the government or the local municipalities, they have much higher pressing needs. And this is a way for us to fill that gap and provide what's necessary during these challenging times. I do want to end on a more positive note, though, and say that the support that we have received from all of you and so many others across the US and in Israel too, between the affiliates and reaching out and helping each other and seeing how everyone can do just take things a step further and try a little bit harder and do a little bit more. That's really what's created the difference in how we're feeling here in Israel. And I try myself to get on every single Wednesday just to see all of you, because it always lifts my spirits so much when, especially those times that things are a little more difficult on this side of the world, knowing that we have people that have our back, that are supporting us from a distance and care and show up week after week means so much. So on behalf of the people that you are helping, and we are all in this together, I want to thank you for being part of this and part of us. And we're doing what we can together. So thank you.
Shosh, thank you so much. You know, so many people equate Jewish National Fund and the work we do in Israel with the hardware of Israel, right? We build things, the land of Israel, and we're really good at building things, and we are great at the hardware. But Shosh and Macomb represent that side of Jewish National Fund that is the software of Jewish National Fund. We're really good about community building and the infrastructure, but a community is only as good as the people. And that's what Macomb really represents as part of the network of Jewish National Fund affiliate partners in Israel. They work on the people side. So it's all full circle. Yes, Jewish National Fund is hardware, but we are also the software. And Shosh, thank you so much for those great remarks. Don't forget, this week, we have added a special edition of our weekly briefing this Friday, which is May 10th. We're going to be spotlighting on education, what's happening on our college campuses, for example. Given the events unfolding across the colleges and universities in the United States and worldwide, we are dedicating Friday's briefing to a review of what Jewish National Fund USA is doing and what you can do to have an impact. We've got a fantastic panel, including Shai Davidi of Columbia University and others. So again, please join us this Friday, May 10th, 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, using the same Zoom link as today. For now, you can learn more on the impact you're having on the ground by visiting jnf.org/support-Israel. If you want to be a part of the largest gathering of enthusiastic Zionists, and yes, we are Zionists with a capital Z, loud and proud, join us for our global conference for Israel taking place this year in Dallas, Texas, November 14th to the 17th. Over 1,000 people have already registered. We're anticipating at least 3,000 people will join us. Really excited to share that just last week, actor, comedian Michael Rappaport has agreed to join us as well. And if you haven't seen some of Michael's things on YouTube and his blogs, He has become a very loud, strong advocate for Israel, for the Jews, and we're really excited for Michael to be joining us, along with Rabbi David Wolpe, Professor Shai Davidi, and many, many more. You will come away feeling inspired. So please register at jnf.org/global. If you can't wait until November for inspiration, and if you want to make a difference and put your hands in the soil and really make an impact in Israel, join us on one of our volunteer working missions to Israel. Visit jnf.org/volunteeril to learn more and registered. And a number of you on this call have already participated or have already registered. And I want to note, over 2,500 people have already participated or have registered for one of our upcoming volunteer missions that we have scheduled all the way through December. We will see you this Friday and also next Wednesday for our regularly scheduled call. I'm Yisrael Chai. Thank you all.